Thank you. Microphone and my video now.
Okay.
It's all yours.
I to be invited to give this talk at UTAR. Of course, I have to thank my good friend Andy, who have introduced. This talk is about meditation on creativity, because in my area of work, it's actually a lifelong thing that I've thought through for a long time. To the slides. Now, it was in 1990 that I realized a couple of things. A lot of my friends start asking questions about their own existence. Where did they is? What is the purpose of life? So the one person I got acquainted with is Nietzsche. People they tend to think that he is a nihilist, but to me, it's really not a nihilist, but the whole idea of existence. So now this whole idea of existence is such that the question through architecture, you'd be like doing a lot of thinking work, doing a lot of design work, putting in a lot of efforts. And for others, it seems to be some form of enjoyment. Now, then initially, I mean, when I talk about this meditation, I would put it closer to more like questioning. You think of going through it. So I would say it's a form of wondering. Sometimes it's also a form of letting go, right? And all this curiosity and questioning. And finally, of course, at some stage, the point of nothingness. Now, so this whole idea about existence, right? One good until almost into the extreme is by Rene Descartes, right? Finally, you have this. Then what can we justify our own existence? So he termed it, I think, therefore I am. If I can think, meditation on first philosophy and his discourse on method, right? So the question I asked, now the idea from the existentialists, they very pessimistic in a certain way, but of course we see light in it. So Albert Camus in 1940 was describing what the whole idea of life is all about, right? So the story has it that Sisyphus was punished a rock up to the top of the mountain, and then the rock will roll down again, and then he had to repeat it. The question is then, what can we do in our own life? So the answer is to feel a man's heart. So the process is where it is. The process is the most important part of going to do. So the only conclusion I can have is, after looking through all this, is that life basically we could do about it, right? So in that sense, then if it's a creative process, then what thing are we going to do, and what is art? So that brings me to why I call it meditation. Of course, we will ask, what is creativity, right? So creativity is something that you do and that's different from the norm. There may be something new, something not exactly very new, but something the creativity is, right? Who can judge it? Now, in many areas of our work, especially in design school, we always projects has a good grade. Why they have a good grade? Why the other grade is lousy? So my conclusion to a certain extent is that, yes, so a piece of work, there must be some absolute thing that if satisfies certain condition, that it will be termed creative. Many people have their own yardstick. There's no one singular yardstick to judge something that is being creative or not creative. So mass media, perhaps, that if you see this being advertised many times, so it must be creative, it must be new, it must be something that's great. The expert opinion, a lot of time is what we should actually based on your own charisma, right? And above that, to be creative is also develop to develop a sense of self-criticism area that you could improve, or the next area that you could experiment with, or another area you could experiment with. So my time deliberating on different aspects of creative work, because I don't think creativity is just even be the way you carry yourself, the way you act to certain things, the way you like the performance art, like the installation art, it's an act of a human action, right? So talk of this matter of appropriation. So what we do, we appropriate, we to a certain extent is that you need to do some work, you need to put in your own effort, you need to put in some mental thoughts to processes that through the many years I have used. One is, the most common one is people appropriate design, you learn people. Then you can also appropriate from art, convert it into other forms, right? Convert it into architecture. How we appropriate art, translate into architecture, and retranslate it back to two-dimensional art or digital art, right? Like philosophical text, and then develop your own methodology that incorporate from nature, right? Where nature would be the best teacher of everything, because if we first-hand knowledge, right? It's not a second-hand knowledge, because somebody digests already. Nature would be the first-hand knowledge books that we could appropriate from, and eventually nothing, right? So nothing is thing. So that means you got nothing to appropriate, right? Eventually, of course, I hope to be able to create a form of this. Yeah. So appropriating design, you can appropriate from Le Corbusier. This we probably gone through. You can, also could understand environmental control, and you implement it in. Also, this is a standard thing about design. So this would, to me, is you have to understand all this before you could go to the next aesthetic practice. Yeah. So I would right. So you can appropriate art from different ism. Just go through some works of some of these artists like Kandinsky. Early work of Melvish, of course. This was done in 1912, 13. A bit of appropriation from Cubist work, perhaps, although I don't see the human figure, although he gets more to develop his own language. So then the whole idea was to make painting be painting itself rather than, right? So classical painting, basically you imitate real human being, but now painting has to white on white. So geometrical shape, piece of paint, and then slowly you got more and more complex shapes comes together. Right. So for the projects I'm going to show is that we look through Kandinsky, and this piece of work is done by my son. So what he did was to look at Kandinsky and design a house. So my part of my work is to how do I translate his work back into a two-dimensional digital. Yeah. So we call this transference. We have put together some of the work into a book, right? You can see Italo Castella. That was my pen name, because I was trying to write many different books using different pen names. So the first thing is he convert all the work into the first floor plan. And if you could see is that I took his first floor plan, and then I added different and blacks and lines that I extracted, and give that emphasis to create a piece. SketchUp first, I capture it in SketchUp, and then using Photoshop to choosing the perspective and all that is pretty important. So now I'm just showing you roughly the of the houses and one connecting bridge. The first part of the house is more public entertainment rooms and And the second part on the right is the residential area. So you could see the toilet bowl. Just go quickly through it, and with the way that we could use the also by allowing them to be X-rated or transparent or thing, we get into Photoshop, and slowly you would see I can color it in different form. So this is all the lines that you can have in by this overlapping. They created a lot of layering and a lot of coincidental. Now this is a piece where I took the elevation with the transparency. The lower end, you could actually see like this probably is the bathtub. You lost a sense of three-dimensionality because it's all lapping onto each other. And with the Photoshop, I choose. Yeah. So so this is in a certain way becomes mysticism, but only in black and white, except it has more smaller pieces, more interaction with a bit of curve. You could see a bit more sharp angles and diagonal lines. This piece, and of course the blue I use slightly different from the steel art of Mondrian, slightly different in terms of the blue. This is not so flat with some diagonal lines, and I select that some part to be original impact of the image. So we just go quickly through and appropriate is philosophy, culture, symbols, sign and metaphor and narratives, right? Or the history of done of sketches I've done on Little India. So this image depicts a Indian goddess, right? Hello, is everything okay? Sorry. So so there is also a person that I saw when I was I looked through, and then I put some of these images together. So this piece is a Hindu temple, right? Hinduism, perhaps for my, but these gods actually return to one singular god, and the rest of the god is just make that god your god, so you can have thousands and one god, but finally they have to refer to one singular god, the god of creation, the god of maintenance, and the god of destruction. Yeah. So but this tree is also, Hinduism is also a very abstract religion. Yeah, so here we have is that the lion itself is also the king of the jungle, where he said, "I am a king." So this is the actual scene I saw and taken a photograph of him. So I find the person is praying to the deities, and at the same time, the deities, beneath the deities, there's also many king of the lion. So yeah, so this allows me to tell stories about the religion and also tell my own story. Yeah. So these are just current scene where times are pretty bad. So gadgets into cash. So these are just some images in Little India, capturing is a whole street selling vegetables. Right. This seems a bit have a row of shop houses selling vegetables, because the rental for shop houses is pretty high. So to rent a shop house to sell vegetable, be more profitable to own a goldsmith shop and rent it to the goldsmith. So this set, of course, the shop front changed a little bit here and there, right? But the vegetables still, to me, still looks the same. The other one is that appropriate this book on philosophy called Tao Te Ching, about a month, is to copy the philosophical text. But the main creative part of it, when I was writing this or copying this philosophical text, So the most important part about book, which I read at different times, and I would be able to derive different things, depends psychological condition I am in at that point of time. So this book is a book that I do collect a lot of different interpretation of Tao Te Ching, just to see how other people interpret the text. I could also place myself in some form of conversation with the person, the Lao Tzu. The time he wrote this book is also debatable, but most people would be happy to say that it's about 500 BC. So, of Western training on art, and it do have some influence, of course, right? But by and large, is to read the philosophy, write the text, and see how this piece is written. Right, most of the work is not written by another form, and then even the big and the small form sometimes they are not really that connected in continuity, and also find surprises lah. Yeah, because the book can be interpreted in any form same time too. Yeah, this most of it is written with different brushes, so the feeling is right. This piece relates to a comment made by, oh sorry, this is not, this is an extract of words that I learned from propose that we shouldn't be competitive. And the philosophy, the main gist of philosophy is to be and not be hard and strong, or is on the right. From the right is 不争 means being non-competitive. 柔弱 means be soft, right? 恬淡 means be peaceful and be serene, you know. The word called 无为. So is when you're doing something, right, focusing on what you're doing, but not focusing on what you can achieve lah. So I think that's the main gist of the word 无为. So this I would learn quite a fair bit of thing at different times also. Yeah. So this is a piece somewhere in year 2000, I think, or 2019, right? It's a few words. Most famous or most modern famous artists, writers are basically writers. So it says that calligraphy has the beauty of painting, rhythm of songs, yeah. And finally, he said, perhaps, I don't know, 旋律 is, I can't really translate it, but maybe the movement of the choreography of the dance, right? So
the
melody. Good, thank you. So it does have the melody of the dance, yeah. So yeah, so I was quite inspired by his words. So I written it in a way that it looks a bit for the word, a bit hidden, a bit mysterious in a way, yeah. So, and then the other thing that I is about emptying oneself, so Kong, so and also floating by, so they are all not real. They are all just in the passing, So reality is the way the Zen Buddhists think about it. So to a certain extent, a lot of things are just passing by. It's just the future is what we plan to do, but it's also not realized yet. So what is real is moment is real. As I was talking to you, or I'm talking now, so it's real. So anyway, this is another piece. Okay, we just go through it. Yeah. Right. So architectural projects that I did with a company called CPG. Right. I was called in to master plan of and a bit of architectural work on the hospital, Chongqing, China. So in that place, the older name is called Basu. West side of China, there are mountainous area and on Jiuzhaigou, and this place really beautiful. And also we have the Three Gorges, right? So elevation change a lot. So although the river is flowing down, but there are a lot of people who have to travel upstream. So in that, they've reached some point, and then finally they have to use a human being to actually carry the boats and drag the boats upstream. They do many times of this lifting the boat upstream, and that in the olden days are all lifted by human being. So human being in boats and insert them into cliff, right? So somehow when I look at this, we get boats flying up on the cliff, but of course we also have the Marina Bay Sands, a huge boat on top of three pillars, but sticking into the cliff is quite an amazing thing. So I was very in the design that I'm going to show you. So what I do is I came out with an idea, but although it's a hospital, sometimes in order to put it in context, the history, the functional bit of it, right? The non-functional bit of it, for me, is to relate it to the local, because that belongs to the history, and they wanted that to be in. So what I did was to abstract that whole idea. You enter to the middle, and inside this huge atrium in the middle, prop up stainless steel glass boat lifted up to become the roof of the entrance area, stating the fact that we are going into the future. So that future, I took a little bit further back, where I expressed we have punch card. So those punch card is like you have a dot, 2 dot, 3 dot, 4 dot, and then you have a line sometimes, right? So you can see a punch card. So the whole idea is to capture all this and make them into a certain symbol and metaphor, abstracted. So I'm going to show you. Well, this is the plan, right? But the basic planning is right in the front, right? This is the general hospital, and this is you have the residential plus offices right at the back. So this is the plan. In front here, the entrance podium is, you have the rock and the lifting up boat. I make portion. Okay, this is the perspective, right? Traveling distant, because they have a lot of functions that they have to be able to, seems to be more cluttered, and they are not very sparse apart, because there are a lot of things that need to be done for operation or for treatment, and then for rest, right? So okay, so for them, right? So this is right in the middle. You could see right at the back you have the punch card light, yeah, but not now, but it's still a reminder of the future to come, with all the shiny glass. And right at the top is this is the boat, and then it's supported by pillars in the interior. This is just another view. So what was expressed is also that the idea of this is something that one has to respect, right? Yeah, this is the detail. It's done in actually SketchUp. Quite interestingly, SketchUp could give me something very. This is the column. This is the column. Yeah, and this is all the trusses. Okay. See, right in the middle there's also a circle. The circle represents heaven. Yeah. Okay, so there are more pictures. Yeah. So the other thing that we need to make it, the place will have like vertical green, right in the middle you have a middle garden, and also some water features and my garden. Right. I spoke about the nature. So right. So in 2005, well, I took about a year for learning from them, rather than thinking what to do with them. So just learning how I appreciate them in four areas, right? Firstly is robber fly, right? This is quite a killer machine in the end, or hunt down object in the mid-air, and then he will cling on their beak and proboscis lah, and they suck out the juice from the prey. This part is the wing, right? Over here is a small little controller. Usually with a pair of wings and this reduced form, they could actually fly and control their fast, and they could actually, in fact, I think I did see some flying backwards, because they go forward and then suddenly they appear. So that is very quick, and because with a macro lens, it's very difficult to see things. Now robber fly, it's very scary if you look at the hook. So imagine if you're, because you get cut into your body before you can even get out. So this is a small little beak down here, and you look at the body, jack digestive juice, and then suck out when the substance is being melted. So these are some, a lot of friends are able, or the person who study insects are able to advise me what is their name and what is their family, to study them and read into them to know them better. By knowing them better, I know where to find them. So now we are appreciating, where we can appreciate is their habitat. Now you can see that this is a spider, most like Jackson Pollock's drip painting, very erratic. So been looking at it for some time, but couldn't find some consistency. Is it the consistency is random, yeah. So I don't know how he built his nest, but right. So, and the spider is hidden behind it, and it looks very mysterious, almost I don't know, like baby view of him, right? This part almost like a Batman face, yeah. Okay, so unless we magnify them, of course there are also bigger spider, but the bigger they are, the more scarier they are, because the small, they are not able to inject their venom into our body. The bigger spider, the venom can be injected our skin. So after the photograph, I also did some sketches and understand them further to see every part of them. So sketching is one of the tools I use in my learning, right? If I want to learn something, make notes. So these are some of the sketches I've done to understand them better. This is a harvestman, very archaic kind of arthropod. I wouldn't say insect, sorry. Some are arthropods, arene. Okay, so from here, I conceive because when I was young, when I go to the zoo, animals are kept in cages, but later on they become aviaries. They put a big net over, the bird park put a big net over, and then you could actually see the bird cage, including the human being who want to visit them. They are all caged together. So the only thing that I'm not sure, critters are being displayed, right? Or the arthropods are being displayed. They're always being pinned, right? If we go to the insects, So I thought, it would be good to have what we call an insect safari, where to find ways to equip ourselves to have the equipment to be able to see the insects. Or because as I gone through the insects, I could find four areas to appreciate them. One is the form, how they fly, and study their movement. Another one is their behavior. They have very strange behavior. Sometimes move a few steps, and then they will swing around 180 degrees, look around, and then they swing around again before they have all kinds of behavior that we could find also in human being, because some insects also, for example, ant mimic spider, they pretend to be the ants by lifting up two pairs of the ants, and of course if they get too hungry they eat up the ants because they are not ants, they are just spider. So there's a lot of mimicry. So these are some sketches that I've done where human being can go in with a lot of feature that helps to propagate some of these insects, and with some temperature controls and all. There are more sketches. And so this was done but I was lucky that I was doing a master planning for health. In that master plan, there was a huge river or a lake, right? So I inserted some of these ideas into the master plan. So here again, this is a master plan project. So many people comes together to do these projects, and many parts of it is not done. Inserted that part where we have the insect safari, just for the fun of it, that he can have such a projects. So I'm going to play the videos. So just sit back and see. The hospital part. Right. This is where the insect safari is. It's just my but one day perhaps. Okay. Right. The next part, appropriate. So how do I not appropriate anything? So that would be the appropriate from anything. So how do we do it? But anyway, this is a piece where I wrote with a huge word down there, woo. So well, in 1992 I did went for so-called meditation center to spend a few days and night there, right? The interesting part is that what I learned about meditation, just concentrate on my breath. So I will concentrate on my breath, breathing in, so that my mind shouldn't be wandering off. So I think is to concentrate this in and out until the mind is not thinking. But even within the 3 days, my mind is definitely thinking and daydreaming. Meditate and think nothing, right? So nothing and emptiness is not so easy to reach. The more you do, right? So I think I thought maybe the first part is just to have a bit of freedom first. I try to reach that state of emptiness, right? So I look at Egato, the power of now, and then also through some learning from the courses I was taking in Raffles Design School, some form of subconscious drawing. So remind me of this formless and this whole idea of nothingness is Bruce Lee, creation of one's body, right? He said with a lot of deception lah. So that's what he mean martial art and to water, and water as a way of life. So he said you must be shapeless, formless like water, so it becomes a bottle. But water seems to be weak, but it's not weak. So then he said when you pour water in a teapot, it becomes like water, my friend. So water can be dangerous too, right? When they are in huge amount, like floods, How can we, I constantly think, how can I achieve that? So I did a project called Project 14 for 49 days, right? Every day I paint one acrylic. And the subject is always the same, Marina Bay Sands. So I just go around Marina Bay Sands, the next day I'll come again. Or some days I paint it at night, depends on the time and availability, but every painting I did, right? Because one day I was sitting in a taxi, the taxi driver said, where you want to go, onto the roof, that building. I said, okay. So that day also quite sort of entered something, not exactly looking like Marina Bay Sand, which one of my friends say, it doesn't look like boat at all, like that. And that's it. And with a lot of flourishing brush stroke, somehow, I don't know, maybe in some manner of days, I remember the nude descending the stair. So I tried to pin one called Sand Descending the Stair. So but in my own, so this is another one when I was right beneath the Marina Bay Sand and watching it, and then I saw also small little, this another piece or another day, something looks very soft, and maybe it was a chill day, so day, fury sun, hot day, real hot. So yeah, most of the time it's a bit abstract. Yeah, we have very little lighting. The place I selected, the lightings are a bit dark. So, but anyway, yeah, that's the final painting. Yeah. So in some days I was sitting around and then thinking that there are people who go there gamble, there are people who smoke pipe over there, there are writers, there are people who go there and see other people. So this is another piece. This one is interesting. I went there one day, forgot to bring water. Without drinking water and then without water and dilute the acrylic paint. So I just dig it straight from the brush, and finally it looks like some kind of charcoal paint diluting it with water. This is another piece. Yeah, right at the spot also. You can see the pictures right below. Feeling different discipline, I think. Some days I feel like, I should be dashing some paint, so colors, not much mixing, a bit too saturated in a way, but it expressed that this one is a bit more calm. So right, so I've written some text painted with black, white, and a bit of leftover yellow and magenta, I think. Yeah, so keep Marina Bay Sand itself. So yeah, right. So so I was dealing with find like from something from my subconsciousness, so that it's not based on anything. I took up my mechanical pen, and then I just keep drawing shapes and things like that. So I'm not able to drawings at this point of time, but after I've drawn it, after a few years, where I got bored, I took out the acrylic paint. So I do have the acrylic painting. So I'm going to show you some of the acrylic painting I've done, like some of the things that I've drawn. So then I started using acrylic paint to paint. I think this was due, we can't get out, so I get bored. So I start to do acrylic painting during the weekends, right? So I did a series of this painting, right? Needles and injection, but in a very abstract form, right? Yeah, I didn't. Right. So in I think was uh 2000, I remember I did also took this one of this pen drawing and then convert into I'm just doing forms, look at it and how to interpret it from my sketches that I create domes, I create platforms, I create things, and then I use a program to render it just for fun, because so in the night I do this, right? So these are some of the perspective rendered. Yep. Rendering is the only thing is that after I look at it, I say, hey, maybe it could be some futuristic space living, that we can extract something from here. So anyway, after years ago, so I sat down with my son, right? Again, this time discussing, and then right, so these are just forms that I developed for nothing. So
Meng Fu,
yeah,
some time afterwards for question and answer.
okay.
So maybe we should begin to make the transition to that.
Okay, so iPad drawing. Right. Anyway, this is some. I'm finishing soon, I think. So these are some of the drawings that what we did was we used fiber. We engaged an architect from Argentina, and then we gave him the sketches, and then he a building in space. So yep, right. So I I think is my work continue. So from all this, I learned a couple of things, right? So the first thing is that uh, people always complain they couldn't find me, because I'm at high concentration, halfway, and then listen to phone call. No way you can do that. And then on top of it, I got to persevere and be fixed to what I'm doing and create a body of work, routines each time I conceive projects for myself. And of course, we need to spend time and resources, right? Three written, but I think the self-satisfaction is what I must have lah, in order to continue the next part. Okay, this is the end of my talk.
Great.
Yep.
Thank you so much. We have we can want to put the questions there. We can also have questions live.
Okay, let me.
Not to have ambient sound behind. So if you're living in an area with a lot of ambient area for your questions. Okay, Paul Im is now back. Good to see you.
No problem. Our session is
Yeah.
booked until 5 o'clock, so we can have some time for discussion.
Okay.
So, whereas our scheduled meeting is on the poster is the link that people use to log in. We can have some interesting discussion after this.
Yep. Okay.
I'll just start things off. Is very multidisciplinary. Your notion of creativity, and moving from nature to art to course of language, and then you folded back to nature with biophilia and then to nothing, to the sunyata, the notion. So all of these are ways of appropriating or non-appropriation, kind of departure point for much of your work. I have one question to kind of bring it into the. I'm familiar with a lot of discussions in theater now, and how to design viral epidemics are very dangerous.
Yeah.
And so closed spaces in general, and our Zoom project had outdoor spaces, but also international modernist, your thinking has been impacted by the COVID-19 epidemic, and your thinking on architecture. has it been impact aspect of your work?
Yeah, sure. I think COVID spaces are going to be redefined, because if I look at diseases, have another kind of habit. The habit is that we wish to be with our family. Of course, some of them, they do different lifestyle, in the sense that we could easily take care of our kids. We could easily cook our own food, right? Things like, no longer, in a certain way, do longer need a living room. What it needs is to have a room for communication, where you need to have proper lightings, proper each of them need to have their own small little spaces that communicate out of their home. Because, I mean, kids, right? The kids will be studying, especially a young family, right? The wife and the husband will still be working, and if they're all working, in terms of the functional requirement, the internet requirement will be different, right? So the home probably is your own setting, where you have to have important meetings that you may have to block out some sound, right? Or you have to video devices. It's no longer communication through a real person. So like now, for example, the camera, so that I can at least give you a sense that I'm talking to you, the audience, you know. So I always forget. So every now and then I'll be looking down, you know, then have to change. So function have to change. Above that, of course, the common spaces, for example, like people sit further apart, right? They no longer crowd around too much, and all flexible spaces where you could virtualization will have to come in, you know, like wearing virtual VR Oculus thing like that, so that all of them can appear to be in the same room, talking through an avatar or talking through your real self, where you digitize yourself. Is definitely a area where it needs to change, because if I look at that is 360 degree. So imagine you position a few 360 degree, then, you know, just imagine the need uh, nicely distributed, because otherwise you will glare into another cameras. So the audience could actually choose down, or even listen to the different person talking. So we could actually develop another new form of drama, in a way, you know, the time of simultaneous, for example. So they have multiple cameras putting in, but the lightings and the sound requirement. At the same time, I think the practitioner will have to learn how to control their voices through the mics. I see a new way of drama. Sorry, it's just jump sometimes. So I see a new way of drama, and a new way of, and a lot of new understanding of technology. I think that's how I look at it. Yep.
Messages on the chat room.
Oh, I didn't see it. Yeah.
Your outdoor paintings, do you set up your canvas outside? But also the issue of Five Arts and Christian Chit have done a number of works in buildings where the audience moves around. Live theater can have that aspect. But yeah, your paintings, do you and then a question about your exhibitions. Do you exhibit your paintings?
I outside, so I have to carry a simple easel, pack up all my things, and then just bring the canvas. You know, these are framed. I actually border buses, you know. So carry a blank canvas, go out, paint, carry the canvas home, you know, and then park and pay a lot of money for parking. Or, yeah, of course, sometimes, you know, I can get someone else a packs of tubes and brushes and the canvas and a easel, a light easel.
Andy Young, do you have a question?
Yes,
Yes.
amazing work.
Thank you.
Amazing. Okay, I like to ask specific.
Okay.
Your hospital project, the entrance is amazing. You know, you have all the historical. How about the rest of it? rest of it
Yeah.
seems to be you are just specific to that
Yeah.
that aspect.
Yeah.
When you presented, were there questions? Project.
Yeah. Okay. This projects, you know, we have 6 different variation for them. But basically, I look at what they request, and then at that point of time, I have to give them 2 different scheme. For in terms of function, is the function we do have what you call he do have the actual plan and all that. Then I look at it and then how I'm going to move around and adjust functional requirement because it's hospital, so it's a very complex thing. So we have to go pose and things like that. So the function is definitely taken care of right at the back. Of course, in this case, the historical metaphor and symbol. The back is the future. So the future at the back, if you like, you look at that way. It's a very futuristic look. So to me, I look at it as because I would look at it more like in the Chinese way of evaluating aesthetic. Chinese aesthetic is such that tall and short actually complement each other. Dark and white complementing future.
Very good.
Stone complementing very man-made. So that's how I look at it.
My
Yeah.
second part of the question was, what was the eventuality of the design?
Area of work are usually design based. That means I do not actually most of the time don't involve carry on the work. Hired gun in a certain way. So I'm hired to provide design, all right? Provide alternative, provide eventually some clients accepted and then somebody take over the job. But in the process of taking over the job, they do make some changes. So some of the project will be delayed, like this project is delayed for 2-3 years already. It's just in terms of design, you already designed for 2-3 years. Yeah, because I think they were hit the first part of the COVID.
Okay.
So this design, personally, I've designed. So that is the what should I say? That is the way design is lah. Put it this way, every 2 weeks one design. So I think for me is I'm a design. I remember the story of the Sisyphus. You work very hard and then you just roll down the hill. You work very hard, then you roll down the hill. Yeah. So I look at it as a process. The process that's where it excites me and make me happy only. That putting up the hill again, because after they accept, they still have to build and then they still have to change. So it's not going to be.
Okay, my second question is about this Lushin.
Yes.
Okay, use the repetition of the words within the phrase. And when it is repeated, is that your mind when you are creating this piece of work?
Wait. I don't get it. What do you mean by the words are repeated? I just copy the words.
It's not clear, but the upper left corner, for example, you have the phrase has repeating, right?
Oh, I think I copied the wrong word. I think the one is called Xuan Li is not girl, it's dance. Dance. I think I wrote the wrong word down there.
美感像话，有节奏像话，有旋律像话。
不是像话，像
像
word 像了。I just use the I think the top part some part of the word.
You don't even have 像 meaning you only pick the keyword.
Yes. I only pick the keyword. For example, 美感 is 话 is 武. So I just wrote that 9 words are actually 9 words. Right? 6 big words and 3 small words. And then their name lah.
Select those keywords.
Oh, well, what happened was when I look at how people, so I look at calligraphy, is like sometimes I was telling my son I'm like weaving a sword, But of course my son, but in my mind it's like I'm weaving a sword, that kind of thing. So in a dance form and do a performance art, So that's why I'm very impressed by the word. So I selected his work now. Yeah. If I'm not wrong, he say calligraphy is 东方明珠 or something like that. Yeah, if I'm not wrong. Yeah. 东方明珠, like a treasure of the time, of China, like maybe 5,000 years ago until now. So,
Okay,
yeah.
I'll open it up to other questions. We have a couple of statements in the chat box saying that virtual painting is a way of dealing with the outdoors indoors issue. But are there other do we have some thoughts or comments or critique questions from anyone? We have from CK, Mr. Choo. I would like to ask whether you have thought of using such as, and this is in Chinese, so I'm not able to read it, instead of Chinese calligraphy. CK, do you want to get it? Come live, CK.
Yes, this is CK here. Wu Wei or Kong, right? And
Yes.
you use Chinese calligraphy to express.
Yes.
And then images to express, well, this philosophy. And that's my question. Because still doing artwork and also working on something similar, thinking using visual, but I just started only.
I've done some iPad drawings and also some 3D works. So it's like piecemeal. So the idea is not really that crystallized. I think perhaps in the future I can do more by using images, but the other is not really use photography to express that idea. But I've done a lot of street photography and things like that. I'm tidying up my collection of digital photograph. Yeah. Oh yeah, the other to answer the earlier question regarding 2 years ago, I started to experiment with programs, VR painting, like using the quill or other programs will need a lot, because I remember when I can't do VR painting for too long, because once I think I did for 1.5 hours, like want to vomit and don't want to vomit, very disorientated. So VR, I think physically and also accommodate, or the equipment is not, it still has some flaw, maybe, I'm not sure, because different images on the eyes, one left, one right, and they are all flickering at a certain time. So they were not synced together well. So that's why I have a bit of problem. And it's not just me, because I went problems. And on top of it, the highest record was straight 25 hours only at that point of time when I check it out. 25 hours wearing the VR. Short learning time span that we can have. So I think because of that, the progress is very slow. Hours straight, except eating and not eating. So imagine you practice 12 hours compared to VR, like 1 year becomes 12 years. So yeah, it's not an easy thing. And then on top of it, I could use the body, there are many things to press, because all is inside the VR. So you press a lot of it. So all the fingers now have to start. I think I see that is something that stopped me from progressing fast enough. Yeah.
Okay, if there's no other question, I have just one question.
Yeah.
You have, been to
Yeah.
different types of work, from photography, observing insects, painting, architecture, in creativity, for all these seemingly very different things. In terms of maybe the processes, the challenges, or or which one do you find is most pleasurable in art and architecture? I mean, other types of artistic pursuits and architecture.
Actually, all of I at what time that I create what kind of projects. Actually, I love one thing, the creative or aesthetic rules between one form to another, they are almost similar actually. I think, for example, I may have developed a certain preferences in my aesthetic execution, and I do a drawing. If you look closely, you would see the composition may have a certain similar. The objects and the things, they do have certain aesthetic rules behind it. So they are all similars because they have underlying, lines and connection and weights. So they are just a different way of expressing using that medium. So of course, when the medium change, you have to change. Underlying rules and lines and guidelines are all pretty similar. Yeah. So even I'm designing my, it also have some rules in it. Yeah. Yeah. So I look at it as quite similar, and I enjoy it all. Do a lot of things, but time is limited. So the only way I could do is to create projects and give myself a certain too little time, so I couldn't complete. So I will take a rest and then do something else. Maybe some days I will come back to it again. And then I don't have enough space and rented one place to do, but then time ran out, so I have to give up that space. And but they are not made well, so I was thinking of remaking them. So sewing, sewing is something that I need to. So anyway, there's a lot of things to do. Too little time. Okay, yeah.
So speak now or forever hold your peace, or put it in the comment from Claire. Not a question, but a comment. I love the way that you translate abstract design.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's all we've got in the new ones in the chat box. Are you thinking, have you thought of, expanding the biophilia to virus structures and how viruses work, of appropriate, they also appropriate RNA, the characteristics of the cells that they invade. It's a kind of expropriation. But we've encountered quite a number of coronaviruses in a very short time, just in a decade.
Yeah.
Therefore, the interface between the natural species, other species, through our destruction of interface, where viruses and other microbial infections pass. I feel that we didn't quite get to the end of the conversation, and not that we'll ever will.
No, I think that is. I think it's really worth a lot of investment of time to look at that, because that definitely change our lifestyle. Yeah, I think that's a very good suggestion actually. Yeah, I hope other projects. Maybe I'll come to this suggestion that you have. Yeah, thanks for that suggestion.
Okay, so we shall now wrap up. I think on behalf of University Tunku Abdul Rahman Center, I would like to thank you so much for sharing this session with us. We will also, from our part after this, try to trim down and perhaps
Sure.
share it to your channels on your blog.
Yeah, I think that would be great. Yeah. I always
we have to figure out how.
I enjoy it too. Right.
Okay, before we go off, I'd like everyone to switch on your
Camera, please.
using the together mode.
Let me just switch off my camera.
On your video for a short while. Video. Fill up the seats with some more, please. If they don't turn on the video, then
I
cannot
see.
see the face.
Oh.
Okay, can we have some more to another row, perhaps? 3-4 person, so that we can have more. Okay, two more, please. turn on your video for a short while. Look at the camera. And then the gallery mode. Okay. Oh, gallery mode cannot contain all the people. Never mind, we still. Okay, together mode again. Good weekend.
Yeah.
Stay
Thanks.
safe.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. And
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Thank you.